All right, so welcome to another Corona Cup 2 game. We've got some 5-1-2 on 5-1-2 violence tonight with Brandon Griffith facing off Gene Hogel. And hopefully it's entertaining for all you guys that are stuck at home right now. And joining me is Mark Sebo. How you doing, man?
Doing all right. How are you doing?
Doing great. I'm happy to be doing this with you. So
yeah, this is going to be a fun one.
You want to,
or at least it better be, or I'm going to have words for them.
I think it'll be fun, and I'm hoping it'll be close. And what do you think about Gene's list?
So, as you had to say many times back in Corona Cup 1, I built Gene's list. He was looking for something AC kind of to fly. Gene is a very swarm first kind of player.
Mm-hmm.
In 1.0, you basically didn't see him without his tie swarm. 2.0, he's been flying pretty much nothing but swarms, and he wanted to branch out a little bit, which I think is always good for getting better as a player.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is something I'd had my eye on for a little bit, so I just gave it to him. It's a first order list. You've got Kylo Ren in the TIE silencer with proton torpedoes, advanced optics, and instinctive aim to help you get those torpedoes off a little bit easier. And then the rest of the list is pretty straightforward because that Kylo is just so expensive. You've got just a naked Scorch, and then 2 Zeta Squadron survivors in the TIE SF with advanced optics. So just kind of a couple of bruisers and then a torpedo Kylo looking to do some real damage.
Absolutely. And then Brandon's got a list that, he says is jank.
It's pretty jank.
We were joking with him. He won Corona Cup 1, and he's
still undefeated in the Corona Cups, period.
Yeah, I guess in total he's 9-0 right now. So, I saw him through with the list I made for him in the first one, and he just stuck with it, even though we could change our list after round 3. And, he said basically when it was over, he was going to fly some scum jank. And this is what he put together. And I'm sure this list has never been built by anyone ever, but it is really interesting. So he starts off with the Sauce Ventress, who's still got a fantastic pilot ability, just like she did in 1.0. So her abilities at the start of engagement phase, you may choose one enemy ship in your turret arc at range 0 to 2 and spend 1 force. If you do, that ship gains a stress unless they remove a green token. You're going to see a theme in Brandon's list as we talk through it. And then he's got Maul, which is great because Maul can, for one, he gives you another force, which is fantastic. You can take a stress to get a force back, which if you think about it, Hate is 9 points, Maul is 12. And Asajj has such a blue dial, it's not hard for her to do that. So she can easily take a stress, do any number of blue maneuvers next turn, and then be able to get an extra force back. So keeping on going through the list here. So he's also got Contraband Cybernetics on there. You can spend a charge and you can perform actions. It's probably, the turn that you do the 5K on Ventress is the turn to spin that.
100%.
And 5K is so good.
Yeah, I was going to say either that or it's a little bit of a insurance in case you dial in that 5K and then you get bumped. You can activate Contraband Cybernetics the next turn to try again.
Right. And then Shadowcaster title, which is only 1 point. But there's a big trade-off cost on it because to basically use it, you've got to have a ship in your front arc and your turret arc. So your turret needs to be facing forward.
Right. Though for 1 point,
For 1 point, and if you get a hit, so she's going to be throwing 3 to 4 dice. And if you get a hit, then she gives you a tractor token. So obviously she's going to want to shoot first. She's not going to want to orbit the board, I don't think, like we typically see with the Shadowcaster because of that title. So I think Brandon will fly this a little differently than you see others. That's not the most interesting ship in the list. So next is Paylob.
Yeah, this is really the Paylob show, isn't it?
Why don't you talk about Paylob?
I mean, so I just want to say this. When we talk about a list being jank, that doesn't mean that a list is bad. Often it can be the exact opposite. Mm-hmm. But when a list is jank, it's really that it's something that you just never see. It's something that you look at and you just go, what? And that's this Paylob. Charles, this is how many points?
Paylob is 79 points.
This 5 health, 2 agility ship is like 80 points. Paylob, though, has been built to be extremely tanky. Among other things, he's got Moldy Crow, which gives him a value 3 primary weapon out the front. But more importantly, it gives you the ability to store up to 2 focus tokens at the end of each turn. Mm-hmm. So Paylob gets to roll into combat with basically 3 actions. 2 focus tokens saved plus whatever he chooses to do that turn. Mm-hmm. Then he's got Stealth Device, which ups his agility to 3. Then he's got Lando, which lets him spend green tokens to re-roll his results. So if he rolls, evade blank blank, he can spend a focus and re-roll those blanks. Mm-hmm. And then he's got the Paylob ability, which lets him steal a focus or evade token from an enemy ship in his firing arc at range 0 to 2. And because he's got Moldy Crow, he basically has a 180-degree firing arc. So this is a Paylob that can basically waltz into combat with 3 agility, have 2 focus tokens, take a 3rd, and steal a 4th. Mm-hmm. And he can spend those as normal, or he can spend them for rerolls. And I think we have seen opponents just be absolutely flabbergasted with how to approach this ship. His first game, it felt like Paylob just soloed the entire enemy list.
It's good to have mods, and it's good to be even better to take your enemy's mods away from them.
Absolutely.
So between this and Asajj making you choose if you want to be stressed or take a green token away, he's got 2 ships that can steal 2 green tokens a turn.
That's true. And then, following it out, not to be forgotten, but basically to be forgotten, is the biggest indication of just how expensive Brandon's other 2 ships are, because all he has points left for is Leighton with marksmanship and auto blasters, which is not bad if it gets behind you, but it's also not really good either.
Right.
So most of this game is going to be won or lost by Asajj and Paylob for Brandon. Mm-hmm. And really, most of this game is going to be how Gene handles those 2 ships. Paylob is...
Brad, why don't you talk about that? Because it's interesting because these guys almost kind of seem like they have counters to each other's lists.
Yeah, I mean, so Asajj's pilot ability, like we talked about, discard a green token or take a stress. That's a big deal to 2 of Gene's ships here. Mm-hmm. Kylo likes to be stressed because he has the auto thrusters ability to take a second action as a reposition for a stress. Mm-hmm. So most of the time when you fly Kylo, you're moving and then focusing and then taking a stress to boost or barrel roll. And he's going to have to be a little bit careful with that if Asajj is around, because you don't want to double stress that Kylo. Asajj also can essentially neuter Scorch. Scorch's pilot ability is when you perform a primary attack, if you aren't stressed, you can gain a stress to roll 1 additional attack die. So if Asajj is pointed at Scorch, Asajj can say, okay, Scorch, do you not want to be able to use your pilot ability, or do you not want to have a modification? And Scorch doesn't like either of those things. On the other hand, Paylob is an absolute fucking terror, but he only has, with Stealth Device, a maximum of 3 agility. Kylo can very reliably roll 4 damage with those torps. And at PS5, Kylo should have absolutely no issue getting range for Paylob. So where a lot of lists so far have really struggled to put any kind of damage through on Paylob and disable that stealth device in a reasonable amount of time, Kylo might be able to do that, and it's Gene's first shot. So Paylob, I think Brandon's been pretty willing to just hang Paylob out in the open and let opponents kind of just break themselves on him and get frustrated and try to start chasing Paylob when they really should be going in on Asajj. And that might be difficult to do this game because Gene actually has the ranged firepower to really put some damage through.
Right. Yeah, there's just perfect counters, like you said. Gene's list wants to stress, and Brandon's list wants to give it stress. But then also on the other side, Brandon's list wants to steal tokens, but Kylo's got force. So there's just some good give and take between these two lists.
Certainly, if it comes down to Kylo versus Paylob, I think Gene has the advantage. What we were talking about earlier, though, is who if you're Gene, who do you go after first? I mean, it's not going to be Leighton. It's going to be Asajj or Paylob.
I think it's,
and of course, a lot of it. You think it's got to be Asajj? I was going to say, I think a lot of it, though, is going to be how Brandon approaches, because if he just hangs Paylob out there, well, you go for Paylob.
Yeah, I don't think Brandon's going to do that. I think you got a couple of indicators. Well, for one, I think when I played Chris in Corona Cup 2, I think, actually when you and I were covering Brandon and Chris's game in Corona Cup 1, we were talking about, what ship's going to be out there first? And I was like, the Falcon, because it's a large base ship. So even if Brandon wants to slow roll Asajj, he really can't. Eventually, Asajj is going to be out there.
Sure.
The Hawk's got one straight, right? So the Hawk can really slow roll. Asajj can't. And then I also think you've got the indicator of, Debris Gambit, which, I don't think Brandon put that on there because he had 4 points. I think he actually intends to use it. And that means he's going to probably, you talked about him having 3 green dice. I think Brandon's going to most of the time have 4+, because he's going to put a ship out there, Paylob's ability with a 180 arc, it'll be stealing tokens whether there's a rock in the way or not, right? And then I think Asajj is really going to be the hammer for the most part, at least in the beginning of the game. But like where you're saying, Asajj is probably the easiest target for Gene to take down. And so the hope for Brandon would be, I think, that Paylob and Leighton do some work, actually. I think that's essential for Brandon to win.
Agreed. Also, I want to note, it looks like initiative has gone to Gene. And that could be important because we do have a pilot ability similarity. Scorch is the same pilot skill as Asajj. So that gives Asajj the ability to arc dodge Scorch, but it also puts Asajj at greater risk of being blocked by these SFs and the FO.
Well, we knew going into this, Gene had the 1 point bid, which I know 1 point bid sounds dumb, but I can't tell you how often it actually matters.
Oh, absolutely. There's so many players like myself who say, screw it, I'm just going to go to 200.
And I was thinking if I were Gene, I would take initiative for rock placement, really.
Right. Well, and how often are you really going to be able to arc dodge with Scorch?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that sounds right. I think that's the right call from Gene, and he's just setting up these SFs just kind of in the middle of the board here, so they can react to wherever Brandon sets up, and then he can play a little bit more precisely with his Scorch and certainly with his Kylo placement.
I think the SFs are should be very important for Gene doing well, don't you think?
Oh yeah. Now, and here's the thing: those SFs are gold putting damage through Asajj.
Mm-hmm.
They will struggle to damage Leighton or Paylob if Paylob's stealth device is not disabled.
Mm-hmm.
It's to the point really where you shouldn't even really bother shooting at Paylob if you have any other targets with those SFs if he has focus token. So Brandon's setting up along the side there, Leighton and Paylob together. Those two will probably be moving somewhat in concert. And looks like Brandon's willing to lead with Leighton a little bit more. So instead of hanging Paylob out, he may choose to hang Leighton out a little bit.
Right.
And so that could be an issue. But of course, Leighton also very possibly just dissolving if Gene gets a full round of shots on him.
And no big surprise that Paylob does his arc off to his left, and he's going to bank in and be able to basically see the whole middle of the map.
That's true. Although there's not a lot of rocks up in this side of the board, so you might have expected him to put it on the right side instead, so that he's a little bit more capable of turning left and presenting his right side to the enemy. But it's not a big deal for Paylob because the Hawk can link and arc rotate for a stress after just about any action. So, he can focus and then rotate, or target lock and then rotate. So it's not a huge deal. I don't think Brandon's going to be stressing too much over that choice. As long as it's not out the front.
Why is Kylo getting on the board before Asajj?
Player error. He probably meant to grab. Yeah, he was probably meaning to grab Scorch and grabbed Kylo instead. Scorch will go
Scorch, Kylo, same thing.
Absolutely.
I mean, at least the ship models are closer size now. They're not the ridiculous.
That's true. I like the ridiculous one.
You like the 1.0?
Of course I do. I still fly with it.
It's and you can use the small ones as target locks, which is hilarious.
Right, exactly. So Scorch looks like he's still thinking about it, but he's probably going to be setting them up with the SFs. Really, what you want with Gene's kind of list is you want to be moving, and essentially, this is essentially a 2-ship list in concept, if not in execution. You've got the one ship that is Kylo, and then you've got the one ship that is your little FO block here with Scorch and the 2 SFs. They should be moving together. They need to be shooting together. At least on the initial approach, they really want to all shoot the same target and put some damage through with concentrated fire. And then after that, the SFs can just kind of split off and start taking pot shots out of the rear.
So I'm a little surprised by this, but Brandon knows what the heck he's doing. I really thought he was going to put Asajj up to the about where the Paylob card is, and kind of go down there and pincer. I really thought he was going to do that, so I'm a little surprised by this. But
the problem is that Asajj, if Asajj is going to do any real damage to Kylo, Asajj has to shoot Kylo out the front.
Yes.
And if you put Asajj kind of in the middle there, pointed to the right, Kylo could set up exactly where he's setting up, and 5 straight boost, 5 straight boost. And Kylo could be hitting you before Asajj really gets to be in a position where she can start threatening Kylo in any way, shape, or form.
And then she's got just in front of her and just behind, and Kylo behind her. So that sounds awful.
Right. And so what Brandon's setting up is he's saying, all right, if you want Asajj, you got to deal with the rest of my list, which I think is something that's significant when you're dealing with a very fast, maneuverable, higher pilot skill flanker. You can't control where that flanker goes, but you can at least say, if you come at me, you have to deal with my whole list, not just piece. But also, we could see, Leighton, Paylob, they don't have to go straight. We could see Brandon start this game off with a 1 bank or a 2 hard from those 2 ships, and really start coming up through the middle of the board, through that debris field. Totally. And then Asajj could go 1 straight and just kind of slowly start meandering around the outside.
Right.
Certainly, Asajj would love nothing more than to hold the engagement around the asteroids, because if Asajj wants to, she could shoot one of the SFs, get a tractor, roll it onto a rock, and deny a return shot.
Mm-hmm.
Scorch is going to shoot first before Asajj, thanks to initiative. So that particular possibility has been denied by Gene's choice.
I think that was great insight, Mark, because I think you just keyed on why Brandon's on this side of the map, which is that's where the two big rocks are.
Right. But he has to watch those too. You know,
Yeah, he does.
It's not so simple. And the other problem that he's given, though, in a way, is that those, because of where he's set up and because of where Gene has put Kylo will have those gas clouds on approach.
Right.
So if you were gonna thinking about trying to hard turn and surprise Kylo, catch him off guard, that just got exponentially more difficult because he's going basically no matter what moves he does as he approaches here, he will have gas clouds to hide behind. And anybody who's ever tried to hit a Kylo at range through a gas cloud with his focus and two forces knows that that's often just a losing gamble, no matter how many ships you're shooting with.
Right.
But it looks like they're about set up. They're starting to clean up a little bit, and they're setting dials for the first round. Looks like they'll start the clock as soon as they start movement here.
Yeah. I think Palob is gonna do like you say. I think he's gonna veer off a little bit. I don't know about Leighton, but I think I agree with you. I think he's gonna one bank too hard, two bank, something like that.
Well, we're gonna find out shortly.
Yeah,
I could see Leighton. I could see Leighton staying with Asajj and Palob breaking off to the left a little bit to head through that rock field. Gene deciding to not go for the joust here, turning his SF away and looking like he's going to prefer that the fight happen where those asteroids aren't.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. And one thing we should mention is Gene is a veteran Swarm player. So he definitely thinks about, this is where he wants to fight on the map, that sort of thing. They do have the 2 sloop, which they can do.
Yeah, and they could shoot at the back too.
Yeah, well, I just think he could say, you know what? Let's fight in the open space over there. And I don't want to go towards your rocks. So I'll play a little patient. It'll take us another couple of turns to engage, but I'll be playing where I want to play.
Yeah, actually, Gene and Brandon are, among Austin players, some of the most willing to delay the engagement for a couple of rounds to really jockey for position. I think you and I are more fly straight at him, get aggressive, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, we're more like, let's throw a bunch of red dice and see what happens.
I brought more red dice than you. Let's figure this out. Leighton deciding to come into the asteroid field and Palob going straight. I don't think Brandon really predicted Gene's decision to go right here. And Palob is going to take a little bit more time to come around, but is still going to. I'm actually a little bit surprised I didn't see a boost from Palob there, a boost straight. Palob is going to take 2 turns essentially to come around for that asteroid, whereas Leighton is already going to be in position.
Well, I think
Scorch coming fast though. I'm not sure what Gene's thinking with Scorch there.
I think the reason you didn't see a boost from Palob is because of Moldy Crow and Brandon wanting to start stacking those focus tokens.
Very, very good point. You are right. When you play Palob, it is very important how you take your actions those first couple turns because you need to waltz into combat with a full allotment of focus tokens. So it would be optimal for Brandon to start shooting turn 3 or later.
I mean, Leighton can do a 1 hard next turn, and Palob can do a 3 straight even, and take a focus, and they're going to be close together again. So I think Brandon said, I can figure this out, but I'm going to start stacking.
Right. Now, what you do with these SFs is interesting. They have a one hard turn, but it's red. And certainly the yellow, if it does a one hard turn, is going through the that gas cloud the next turn.
Right. I don't like the one hard on yellow, but you could do maybe a 2 hard on yellow and then barrel roll.
That's what I was thinking. You could do a 2 hard turn on both of them, and then barrel roll. But Gene might be preferring to just let them take the long way. Usually, when you see a list like this being flown, those SFs are the Bruiser Vanguard. You know, you put them up front. They've got 2 agility, 6 health. They're a lot to chew through on just one round of shooting. Although Brandon's list is capable of doing that. But you put those up front so that Kylo is a little bit more safe to engage. Gene looking like he's taking the opposite tack. He's holding them back a little bit, planning to bring them in after Kylo and Scorch swoop through.
Right.
I can't say I necessarily agree with that. Scorch is extremely fragile. And he gets his best work done when people are focusing on anyone in the world but him. So Scorch is in an unfortunate position, I think. But Kylo, of course, is in a good position because he's doing what he wants to do, which is flank. Paylob is going to take 1 or 2 turns to come around. Asajj is going to take 2 to 3 turns to get where Kylo is. And so Kylo's in a perfect position here to either 5 straight and boost around and get ready to come up from behind, or to 3 bank and take the lay of the land on where Leighton went.
That's something that I've, the last couple of weeks I've been playing with an i6 Poe. And something, we've always known like pilot's skill or initiative is like super important. And you can really lean on it, right? Like, so.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, Kylo could do the 3 bank and barrel roll boost, and just say, I'm going to make a kind of gentle maneuver kind of in the direction where I want to go, but I'm going to fine tune it basically after I see my opponent move.
And the best ace players are always so capable of doing that bank or 3 hard turn, putting them face first into a rock or into a gas cloud, and then using boosts and barrel rolls to transform that into just absolutely the perfect position. Leighton is almost certainly not going to just 3 or 4 straight. That would be a mistake. Brandon's not going to make that mistake. But could 1 hard turn really claim that gas cloud protection and set up for a good next turn. But I still think the 3 bank on Kylo is the right call.
2 sloop.
Yeah, Gene choosing to sloop around. And I think, absent some master plan that he tells us about, my expectation is that he was not really thinking about where that 2 hard turn would take him compared to the rest of his list. And he's going to have to come around a little bit with these SFs.
Right.
And probably given that, we'll see a 1 hard turn, I would think, coming out from Scorch, so that he doesn't get so far ahead of these SFs that there's just no point of him being on the board.
I mean, he could also like bank away.
He could, but I think he needs to go slow right now.
Yeah. But I mean, like towards Kylo, he could do like a 2 bank to the right.
He could.
And I think he could, he could play with his clouds, which will give him the free evade.
Right. Yeah. Paylob, like we said, coming up a little bit here. Okay, Scorch is willing to get out in the open a little bit. And
well, I bet he'll barrel roll right. That's what I expect him to do. And that was a safe maneuver, kind of like what we were talking about, where he's got the better initiative.
Right.
So go in kind of the direction he wants to go, but give himself options.
Right. As long as he gets to figure this all out so that he starts getting into combat right around when the SFs do. But he's going to have to finagle a little bit to make that happen.
Look at Brandon flying like a
Asajj coming in.
boss.
Well, isn't that kind of a strange place for Asajj to be?
I don't think so. I think Brandon's. I think he's thinking the battle's actually going to take place in the obstacles.
Right. But that's why I don't know that that's the right place for Asajj to be, because if Asajj one banks, that rock is going to be right in her way for future moves.
Well, I think she could even 2-bank and be cool. I think we'll see Palob do a 2 hard left, and we'll see Asajj do 2-bank, and Kylo can decide what he wants to do. Is let's roll some dice or go away for a while.
Absolutely. Well, that three bank, obviously, that's what we're talking about. That's optimal for Kylo there.
Mm-hmm.
What he chooses to do with it, though, is a bigger question. He could, if he was going to look for a target lock, he has to do that as his first action. But because of instinctive aim, he doesn't really need it.
Mm-hmm.
He could focus and boost and look for a torp on someone, but I think it would be a waste on Leighton right now.
Right. Yeah, Leighton's in a bad spot.
Leighton's going to have to contend with that gas cloud next turn. I could see Kylo just sitting there, just focus up, sit there. You're in a great flanking position as it is, and he's going to choose to do that. It looks like, unless that was him trying to take a target.
And he did a 3-bank.
Let's talk about next turn, because this turn is basically over. There's no shooting happening.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if if Asajj can 5 straight.
Let's take a look. I'll go overhead. No,
I think it's open.
I think you're going to be on the rock if you do that.
I'm looking at it straight on. I think it's open. I think you can pull it off.
I'm wrong, dude. You can totally do it.
We'll find out. But if I were Brandon,
you're right. You can totally do a 5 straight. That would be awesome.
I would be very interested in doing that. Kylo out of position, Scorch out of position to punish. And those 2 SFs, you know exactly where they're going to be, because they have to do a blue maneuver, and it has to bring them around a little bit, which I think for that dial is just 1 bank.
Mm-hmm.
Very slow. So you can 5 straight up, take a target lock on one of them, and start pushing through some damage, probably out of range of any reprisals. And then you're in a very, very good position to either to kind of turn in and hit Scorch, or bank by, rotate your arc.
And you got to figure the SFs are going to do a bank to clear their stress, right?
They have to.
Right.
If they do a hard turn to get into a good position, and then plan to do a blue next turn, that would be very, very good for Brandon if he does a 5 straight. And Gene has to be thinking about that.
So I was just wondering why Gene didn't do a reposition and he just barrel rolled.
Right. So that firing arc we saw earlier must have been Gene looking for a target lock. We can see he took a target lock on that gas cloud just for funsies.
But he took several minutes to decide what to do, which is interesting. I think it was a very pivotal decision, because what he's decided is that he's not going to take a shot for at least 2 turns now. Right.
He could, I don't think he clips that rock. He could do a 4 straight, 3 or 4 straight boost.
I totally like that, because that puts him in a position where he's not going to be taking shots.
Right. And then really plan to come in next turn and start hitting them hard with those torps. But you got to get that. This is the push and pull of ace play. You can't get that ace into combat too soon to the point that you're just jousting, because you just get shredded.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't bring that ace into combat too late either, because that's your most expensive ship. It's your biggest gun. You really need to start shooting with it as soon as possible, as long as it's safely and effectively. But yeah, Gene making the right call there not to go for that torp on Leighton. That would have been a fool's errand through that gas cloud. So deciding instead to back off, that's probably the right call.
Right.
Yeah, so I think the most interesting move this turn, the SF's probably gonna one bank and focus, get ready to move in. Scorch probably one hard turn or two bank, getting ready to get a run there on Leighton or Paylob. And Kylo probably just 4 straight and boost. The most interesting decision here is really on Brandon's side. Leighton needs to contend with that gas cloud. Go too fast, and you put yourself in a really risky position. Although, let me say this: because of Kylo's decision there, Leighton just doing a 3 straight and focusing is all of a sudden not the worst move.
It's actually really good because Scorch will take an obstructed shot.
Right. Or even just one Scorch shot, probably not anything to write home about against Leighton. Right. Kylo is going to have to go around that asteroid unless this was all an elaborate fake out for a 2 hard turn.
It could be, but I don't think so. I think he would have boosted at the end of last turn instead if he was going to come in.
I would be thinking about it right now if I'm Gene, because you could 2 hard turn Kylo, focus and boost. I'm not saying
it's a bad move. I just don't think he's going to do it.
Yeah, probably not. But I would be excited to see that move. That would give you a very good shot on Leighton.
Absolutely.
And probably before Paylob or Asajj are coming in enough to start screwing with you. The SFs are going to just bank and clear that stress like we talked about. They're still pretty out of position. It's going to, depending on Brandon's moves here, it might still take the SFs a turn or 2 to get into combat. And this is what we were talking about earlier with, I think, Gene just a little unfamiliar maybe with the SF still and thinking that they were going to be somewhere else. But taking a couple more turns to get them into combat than I think that he would like. Paylob has to move before Asajj, so Paylob has to deal with Asajj being in the way.
Whoa.
Leighton doing a move that I can't help but think, so very, very unfortunate for Brandon and Leighton there. One hard turn, clipping that gas cloud, and taking the strain. So, but worse, putting herself in the avenue that is most likely to be traversed by Kylo here. A weld shot torpedo from Kylo could have a decent chance of just taking Leighton off the board in one go here, and Scorch might be shooting the second.
If Kylo goes fast, he can target lock boost into arc, right? And
absolutely. Well, he can even focus boost into arc because of instinctive aim and advanced optic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. That's not bad at all for him. So there's really nothing stopping Gene if he was playing conservative with Kylo here from getting a very, very good shot. Yep, there's that one hard turn with Scorch. I didn't expect to see anything different. He's really just trying to slow Scorch down here and bring him to the fight around the same time the SFs are. Kind of trying to regulate speed here so that everybody arrives at the same time.
So
casting a net.
Do you think Brandon's betting that Kylo's doing it too hard? That's why he did the risky move that he did?
I don't know. I honestly don't know why you would do a one hard turn with Leighton there, except maybe to threaten Kylo. But Kylo doesn't have to be in your bullseye if he doesn't want to be. I don't know that auto blaster pointed right at each other was going to be any threat to Kylo. Except maybe Brandon's thinking, okay, I'll one hard turn, I'll evade. Kylo takes a shot at me, I'll be bruised, but I'll live. He wastes a torp in the process.
Right.
That's a torp that could have gone on Paylob, could have gone on Asajj. And then I will get behind him as he goes for Paylob and Asajj, and then I can make that auto blaster start doing work. That could have been his thought process there. But Kylo doing that too hard turn we talked about.
So I think Brandon bet and he was right.
He bet and he was right, but he is not in the right position to capitalize on it.
Right.
So Gene's going to get exactly what he wants here, which is a beautiful torpedo shot, range 3 into Asajj. with a follow-up by Scorch here, though that's possibly through the gas cloud because of his positioning.
Right.
The problem is Kylo is going to have to think pretty seriously about bugging out the next turn. But at least for right now, Kylo is getting what he wants.
Absolutely. So is Gene just thinking about what he wants to do? Is he going to focus?
He must be.
But focus boost seems like the right call.
I would just focus.
Well, if you think you got range 3.
Yeah, I think he's in range 3. He has to be thinking about that because he could easily focus boost and guarantee it. And he would still be fully able to like 5 straight next turn and still get out of
I think
dodge.
that's what the deal is like if he's in range 3, you might as well target lock, right?
Absolutely. But if you tried the target lock and then you're not in range, you're pretty screwed.
Right.
You're going to wish you'd focused. So he's going to focus up, and then the next question he needs to answer is, "Am I boosting?"
Right.
And you need to answer that question without checking for range.
He just focused, and he's got
All right.
it.
Yep. So he chose correctly. Gene there has a range 3 at Asajj. He is he's triggering instinctive aim to shoot his proton torpedo. So he's spending a force on that. And then he'll be spending a charge on that proton torpedo to roll 4 dice into Asajj. Now he does not have a target lock, but he does have a single force for focus modification. And he also has advanced optics. He can spend that to turn a single blank into a hit with his focus token.
So they're rolling on this other board over here.
Mm-hmm. So that is not really what Gene wants to see. That's hit, crit, and blank blank. But he can spend that advanced optics to turn one of those blanks into a hit for, and then proton torpedoes will make that hit, crit, crit.
Right.
It is at range 3, but it's a torpedo, so Asajj isn't going to be getting any real bonuses off of this. And it looks like Gene...
He's going to spin the focus to get hit.
Yeah, he's debating it. He might want it for defense, but he's going to go and do a little bit more damage with that torpedo.
So he'll be down to one force, but...
Yeah, but that's okay. He's just taking one range 3 shot from Asajj. You're not in a huge amount of danger there. Although if you do get hit, you might get tossed onto that asteroid. So you do have to be a little careful about it.
I think Brandon's probably telling Gene, "Hey, dude, you can turn one of those to a crit." Yeah. Cool.
It's not gonna matter even if Asajj rolls 2 blanks.
Right, because he's got an evade.
Right. Brandon telling the dice to go into this dice box for 2 natty evades. It's just going to be 1 shield on Asajj, and that's if you're Brandon, that's pretty solid.
Absolutely, and 1 torpedo down.
And only 1 to go. And, Payla, for every torpedo that Gene spends, Payla breathes just a little bit easier. Asajj looking for targets, Kylo at range 3, like we talked about. Asajj still has 2 force, or 3 force with Maul, rather. But only gets a single hit out of it, no ability to re-roll. So this will be a very straightforward attack for Kylo to evade, and does so easily. So still a little bit of a win there for Gene, but I'm sure he would have wanted to at least take that second shield off of Asajj.
Well, he's got no reload action, so it actually probably feels bad for Gene.
Maybe. But, dealing out damage and taking none in return is never something to be upset about.
We're fine here.
Scorch has range to Asajj, activating the pilot ability to roll 3 red dice.
Oh, he's only
I didn't see, though, if that was obstructed.
Yeah, no, he's re-rolling it. I think it's obstructed.
But that's a pretty solid roll there with spending that focus for hit.
Might
crit.
As well.
Yeah. That is going to be a gas cloud obstruction at range 3. So Asajj is going to be rolling 4 dice with force with the gas cloud evade. This probably will not do any damage, but maybe if you're lucky, you force Asajj to start spending some focus or start spending some force.
No, you're fine.
Will not be necessary. He'll spend one
evade.
force.
Yeah, one evade token.
Well, oh, that's right. Yeah, so he doesn't even need. Yeah, and that's fine. And that should be it for this turn. So let's start talking about the next one.
Right. I think what's interesting here is the initiative overlap is going to matter this turn, I think.
It really is. Brandon, I think, also still not in the best position. Leighton's doing just fine now because Gene did the 2 hard turn. Leighton's in a good position to 2 hard turn and start coming up the flank where Leighton wants to be with that auto blaster. But in choosing to hard turn in, Asajj is now playing in the obstacle field that Asajj doesn't really want to play in.
Right.
I think a 1 bank hits that gas cloud. You could 2 or 3 and then try to come up and around. But a 2 hard turn puts you right in front of the other gas cloud, and so on and so forth. Asajj is not in a great position to start taking really good shots. And Paylob isn't in a great position to do it either because Paylob has to move before Asajj. And there's not a whole lot of space for Paylob to be.
Yeah, I was actually looking at Paylob's... I'm sorry, not Paylob. Leighton's style here a second ago. It's not awesome.
No.
I mean, it looks like a 2 hard... 2 hard is probably the best move because it's the most likely to dodge Kylo. I think Gene's going to be going some kind of straightish move with Scorch. So if he does a 2 hard, he's going to basically be dodging shots. And something to think about, because Brandon brought auto blasters, the crits are going to be unavoidable on flanking.
Right. And so Gene might choose. I could see a universe where Gene 1 hard turns with Kylo.
He didn't stress.
Exactly. So, and he might, if he predicts Asajj is going to, Asajj could do any number of things. Asajj isn't in the greatest of positions, but in a way that makes Asajj unpredictable. No move is really optimal here that I can see. So Asajj could do anything. Asajj could 5K through that gas cloud. Asajj could 2 hard turn. Asajj could 3 bank and try to go for the Kylo block.
Right.
And that's what Gene really needs to be concerned about, is if Asajj does a 3 bank to the right, ends up right between where Kylo and Leighton are, and just says, my gun's right here. If you did a 1 hard turn, if you did anything short of bumping into me, you're going to be in for a world of hurt. And even if you bump into me, you're going to be taking possibly a range 1 auto blaster out of arc from Leighton and a follow-up possibly from Paylob if he manages to come around. So Gene's got to think long and hard about Kylo here, and he might need to just 3 bank up and away and let Scorch and hopefully in a turn or 2 the SFs come in. But those SFs being out of position is really starting to hurt Gene.
Yeah, they don't have a ton of options.
No, I think a 3 hard turn probably with focus. Really put, you don't know where Paylob's going to be. Paylob could hard turn in or bank in and just bump Asajj and say, fuck it, I have 2 focus tokens already. Or Paylob could straight and come up and around. I mean, both are possible. And that 3 hard turn or even a 3 bank to the right preserves some of those options for you if you're the SFs.
I think you got to decide with the SFs. Are you going after Paylob or are you going after Asajj?
I just don't know that you really have that option, right? Because you move first. So you really, there's that 3 bank. You really just have to put yourself in a position to be able to react for future turns. And he's deciding on the 3 bank to cover for Paylob if he goes straight.
I like it because Brandon's arc is on the left of Paylob. And, he's got to be in range 2. So unless he went fast, he's not stripping one of those focuses.
Agreed. And there's not a lot of places that Paylob can go with Asajj in the way that is not going to get him shot by those SFs. or at least red. Also, Pelob's ability, that's range 0 to 2, right?
That's right. That's why I'm saying,
Yeah.
unless he goes fast, he can't strip a token.
Yeah, exactly. And he's going to choose to try to slip in there, and he is going to open himself up to those SFs.
Right.
That said, he's still got those. The advantage of that maneuver, he didn't bump, and he's at range 1 of that obstacle, so he gets to take an evade action using Debris Gambit that will not stress him.
Well, he used his 4 points.
He did.
So he's got that going for him.
Right. So what looks like it looks good for Gene, right? Because he's sitting there. He's got some shots on Pelob flank, but that's going to be range 3, which is not where SFs do damage. And it's going to be at a still stealth device enabled Pelob with 3 green tokens, possibly 4, depending on what Scorch does here. Gene doing a 2 straight, so Charles correctly predicted him there. And if Gene knows what he's doing, he's not going to be doing a green action with Scorch. He should take a target lock, or he should reposition. But he's choosing to take a focus, which I
don't get.
I think that's just him. That is nothing but an error. Unfortunately, there is no way that that's a good decision in any way, shape, or form. Pelob, using his pilot ability, just gets to steal that token for himself.
Yeah, and Scorch is about to be tractored.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's going to take a range 1 shot on Scorch.
Yep,
with
and Scorch. And again, Scorch will have that focus token stolen. So he will not be able to defend himself effectively from Asajj's range 1, 3 force, and a target lock attack. And that could go very, very badly for him. Kylo getting out of dodge. Doing that 3 bank up. And probably boosting or barrel rolling. He's not in Leighton's bullseye, so the risk of unavoidable crits is not enormous, but it's still something that you need to think about. But more importantly, Kylo needs to think about getting back into position.
Yeah, but I mean, he's at a range 2 from Pelob. Mm-hmm. He's got the cloud. Asajj is going to shoot Scorch. He took the target.
Scorch is free money for Brandon right now. If he shoots Scorch with Asajj and does even 1 point of damage, Scorch is going on the rock, might take more. Range 1 shot from Pelob with focus and rerolls might take more. If he somehow lives through the end of the turn, he has to move through the rock again next turn and still might take more damage. Yeah. Kylo gonna just straight boost out and try to set up for the next turn's shooting, but right. That will make him stressed. And Asajj, it may, if he's at range 2 of Asajj might turn that into discard that focus or be double stressed. But certainly Asajj has no shortage of juicy targets to use her pilot ability on this turn. She's got a Scorch she could stress automatically too, because Pelob just stole his focus.
Right.
And Gene has to be cursing that decision right now, because again, it was nothing but a plus for Brandon.
Right.
And there's Asajj looking, I think also for her target there, and seeing she could choose either Scorch or Kylo. Stressing Scorch essentially guarantees that Scorch will not do any damage this turn, and Brandon's choosing that. So he'll have to spend a force to do it, but that's not a big deal. With Maul, he's got 3, so he's got to lock in 2 force. That's still plenty to do damage on Scorch.
Yeah, we're seeing the power of Brandon's synergy with the start of engagement triggers.
Absolutely. And because of that steal from Scorch there, Pelob's rocking 3 focus tokens and an evade token. He will be taking what looks like 1 range 3 2 dice attack and 1 range 2 obstructed 2 dice attack. Paylob does not give a shit about either of those attacks. Gene really, really needed to put guns on Asajj or range 1 guns on Paylob. And I think Brandon is just giving him the runaround here.
Right. I also think if Kylo had, leisurely gone above that rock up there instead of turning in, it'd be a different thing right now.
Hard turning to the right was a very interesting decision for Kylo. I think Gene is continuing to be a little bit over aggressive with Kylo. Instead of setting up for the 1 turn later perfect position, he's going for the same turn. And again, there's that push-pull. Gene saying, I really need to get Kylo into this fight. It's starting to happen. I got to go. And having to deal with the results of that later. Kylo has no shot, so it's Scorch's shot first at Paylob. He's only got 1 hit result there. Paylob rolling 3 focuses and an evade. He'll probably just spend that. Now he'll spend a focus. I was thinking he would just spend an evade to and just save those focuses. I mean, why would you worry about it? It looks like he's choosing. Yeah, all right. He's just going to go ahead and spend that evade. That's the right call. You don't forget. I mean, with another ship, it might be different, but he has Lando crew, which lets him spend those focuses for their intended, but also lets him spend them to re-roll 2 dice, red or green. So even if he spends that evade and an SF shoots him and he rolls nothing but blanks, he can still spend those focuses to convert those dice into paint. Here's the big ticket, though, because we've got Asajj shooting at Scorch. Range 1, 4 dice versus 3. Asajj modded up to the gills and Scorch with nothing. It looks like Asajj rolled and no, they're still rolling. Asajj with a pretty good start. Hit, crit, blank, evade, or hit, crit, blank, focus. He's probably going to be spending that target lock on that blank. Scorch might not be alive next turn. And then and then he's going to force that for 3 hits and a crit coming in on Scorch, who rolls very respectably evade, but that's still going to be a shield crit on Scorch. So 1 attack, Scorch is down to half right off the bat. But even worse for him, he was just hit by Asajj in her front arc and mobile arc. That's going to be a blinded pilot, which is not great. But it would be the worst one right now, even more so than direct, is stunned pilot.
Stunned pilot would be terrible.
Well, stunned pilot would guarantee a dead Scorch, but he's going to live for now. But he is tractored. Brandon's going to shove him forward because why would you do anything else? He's going to hit that rock. Now he has to roll for more damage. We'll see if Gene rolls quote unquote well. Nope, it's a blank. So no damage from that, but he's about to eat a range 1 shot from Paylob while tractored, which will make up for the obstacle being in the way.
Yeah, so 4 dice against
3. No, it's against +1 -1 with that obstacle, right?
Right.
And Kylo, for all the boosts, did not get out of Leighton's arc, but that's okay. Leighton did not roll any crits, so that's all right. Kylo still has his focus, still has his force, probably will not take any damage from this, and he is completely fine.
Yeah.
Paylob, though, this range 1 shot we're talking about, he's got his focus, he's got his rerolls. Though, if Gene has accomplished anything with these SFs, it might be keeping Paylob honest on these mods. Unless Paylob rolls extremely well here and doesn't need to spend mods, which we'll talk about in a second.
Oh my God.
Paylob just killed it with the 3 hits and a crit roll. Gene needing nothing but evades and not getting it.
Even then, he'd need a good crit, right?
Right. And then he'd need to not take damage moving off the rock. And there was no universe Scorch survived this turn. Gene, we've been talking for this entire game about how Gene hung Scorch out to dry. And this was the result of that, which was Brandon getting multiple range 1 shots on Scorch without the SFs being in a position to punish Brandon for doing that. And unfortunately, what it means is that Scorch is being taken off the board for essentially free. I mean, Asajj will have to reckon with that gas cloud next turn, but that's not a big deal right now.
Well, Asajj can be annoying this next turn too, because she's gotten in bump range.
Right. Well, and Asajj still extremely healthy. Right. Brandon's entire list only missing 1 shield, and Gene down a ship. Now he will have 2 shots here at Paylob. They're both range. They're both going to be range 3. So Paylob rolling 4 dice with 3 focus tokens, which could be focuses or rerolls. Odds not good, but we'll see if Gene can make something happen. That's going to be a hit crit coming through. If Gene manages to deal a single point of damage and break the stealth device, that is a win for him. But the first roll is going very handily to Brandon. Just costing him a single focus to resolve into no damage.
I bet it's pretty good to have 2 focuses a turn.
Yeah, I think it is. and this is what we're talking about with how difficult it is to damage this Paylob. He was waltzing into combat with 3 focuses and an evade, and he may spend most of it, but it doesn't matter because he's still undamaged. But Gene's got 1 more shot. He's got 1 more chance to make this happen. He's got, once again, hit crit. These SFs rolling like fire for him. But even 4 blanks from Paylob doesn't guarantee anything. And that is not 4 blanks. That stealth device putting in good work, and Gene not being able to do anything with those SFs. They really, most people who, with two dice attack ships, they can do great work at range 3 against 1 or 2 agility ships.
Right.
But if you want to damage 3 agility or more, you have to close to range 2 or range 1. Mm-hmm. Range 1 preferable. Right. It's just an immutable law. You will get nowhere taking pot shots at range 3, especially against this Paylob.
So you want to guess about who's going to do what this turn?
Well, Leighton, Asajj is blocking. Leighton probably doing a 3 bank or a 1 hard turn. I mean, well, Leighton doesn't need a good shot. Leighton just wants to keep taking shots and hoping she rolls a crit against Kylo, right? And that applies equally through a gas cloud as not.
Yeah, I mean, so I think Leighton's had strain for 2 turns, and she probably wants to get rid of it.
I think Leighton is so far down the target priority for Gene here that Brandon probably feels like that strain can sit around for the rest of the game, and he could care less.
So she can 1 hard, stay behind the cloud.
Yeah,
shoot
1 hard, whatever. 3 hard, 3 banks. Just I could see a 3 bank here. Just make Gene have to think about Leighton following around behind Kylo for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The 3 bank looks good, and then Gene has to keep on skedaddling with Kylo.
Right. These SFs probably 2 bank or 2 hard turn. I think they would need to do a 2 hard turn to try to catch Asajj here, because Asajj could move up pretty quick, and that bank could catch nothing. Paylob probably doing a 1 bank here. That gets you around the rock, lets you take an action, still gets you the evade. I would see you can't evade Link into rotate, so I would see Paylob 1 banking and then focus into rotate, pointing his arc to the right, like we talked about that at the beginning of the game.
I don't think, like you said, I don't think Brandon thought he'd be playing over here. Right. And then the SFs did some crazy stuff.
Which I don't think Brandon's complaining about at all.
No, he's not complaining because they've been out of the fight. But because of the way that they played, and Brendan didn't see it coming, I don't think. He had his arc turned the wrong way, right?
Right.
Because it would be much better to have it turn the other way. So I like what you're saying. One bank, rotate, focus, rotate. Whatever you want to do with Leighton, doesn't matter. Now, what about Asajj? That's the tricky one, I think.
I wonder about Asajj pulling. I don't think you have room for the 5K.
Wow, that would be crazy.
The 3 hard turn looks great, but it might strain you, and it brings you kind of into range 1 with those 2 SFs.
And you're not going to be able to kill one either.
And you're not going to be able to tractor one into a rock or out of arc, I don't think, with your positioning. The 3 bank gets blocked by Kylo. I could see... It's difficult. You could just run away, but...
You could.
Like, you could just 3 hard turn to the left.
Right.
And just get out of there and come back around.
Mm-hmm.
But Brandon's so healthy here with Asajj. I would probably just 1 bank to the right. That's going to clear the gas cloud for next turn. You put pressure on Kylo. You're not taking range 1 from those SFs. You got plenty of force to deal with the range 2 attacks.
Right.
And then you're in a gorgeous position to 5K the following turn to get behind those SFs and keep shooting.
Mm.
And then you can kind of pincer them between the Asajj coming up from behind and Palob being right in front. And neither of those is good for Gene.
I do like if Kylo was just, a half inch further forward, the 5K contraband cybernetics. I agree. That'd be awesome.
I like the 3 hard turn too, because not only do you further limit Kylo's actions, but you're definitely not getting shot by Kylo, which is always good because Kylo does have the 2 hard turn open to him. But I think in return for that, you take 2 range 1 shots from those SFs while possibly strained.
I think 3 hard right is probably what Brandon's going to do, but I could be totally wrong.
Yeah, it's hard to predict what Brandon does with these large base ships. Usually in this position, you would just want to run away, but Asajj not very good at running away. And if you 3 bank to the left or 3 hard turn, the only turnaround the Shadowcaster has is the 5K, and you're not going to be able to do that the next turn. There's these hard turns we were predicting from Gene.
It's got to be. That's
why do anything else?
I don't know.
You really, really have to get these into the fight.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the time, so there's 13 and a half minutes left.
So
3 more turns is what I'm thinking.
I'm betting 4 turns. They're just starting this now. This turn isn't going to last 13 minutes.
If it wasn't these 2 players and the speed that they've been playing this game.
Yeah, I'm guessing 4 or 5 turns. We'll see, but depending on the number of shots here, we're probably just going to see 4. Okay, so right on, we're right on here. Leighton doing the 3 bank, we knew that. Palob doing the 1 bank, we knew that.
Rotate,
focus,
good
rotate.
Call.
We're right on point here with these predictions. But this is just what we've been talking about in a way. It's almost reversed. Earlier, we were talking about Gene having very obvious movement. Now Brandon's movement is very obvious, with the big question mark being Asajj.
Yes.
The 2 big question marks.
The overlap too. He's gotten rid of the bump.
Right. The 2 big questions here are Asajj and Kylo. Leighton had a good move. There's that 3 hard turn.
And he bumped, which is great for Brandon.
Fantastic for Brandon, absolutely.
Because he wouldn't get into action anyway.
Right.
And he might as well take a shot away.
Right. Yeah.
And so he can still do the Asajj thing because that one's still an arc. He can decide which one he wants to take a focus or get stressed.
Right. Absolutely. And he might even be able to shove it out of range 1.
So he got straight. I mean, Brandon's
he did, however,
perfect strain rolls on these.
Yep. Well, what are you going to do? Gene, I think no. Gene did not roll any damage. So Kylo runs away. Continual pressure by Brandon here, really forcing Kylo out of position. And this is going to be an issue. Where Kylo is now, do you see Kylo taking any shots for the rest of the game?
Well, I mean, he's going to have to start playing more aggressive with Kylo, because that's the only way he's going to be able to win, I think. The most that his list can do to Brandon's list is 3 damage this turn. And it's going to be at Asajj and it won't be to half. But Brandon's going to be able to play games here. He's going to be able to take the focus from yellow if he wants. Oh, so he takes it from red. And then he can say, hey, yellow, do you want to lose your token, or do you want to stress? I don't think he's going to stress red. I don't see a point in it. He'll just do a blue maneuver and clear it next turn.
I think you tell Gene to remove that focus for double stress, but it doesn't really matter because you're not shooting Kylo anyway.
Right. So I would do it.
All you're doing there is, all you're doing is kind of seeing if Gene makes a mistake.
I think yellow's the way to go because it takes the mod away from the shot on a Leighton. And Gene has 0 mods shooting now if he does that.
Well, Asajj, with her focus mods rolling hit, crit, but actually shooting Kylo. Wait.
Really?
Is he shooting Kylo? No, Gene rolling too many dice.
Okay.
He's shooting the SFs right in front of him. Getting the good natty roll there, but
wow.
Wait, did Asajj use her? I looked away for a minute.
I think
Asajj
Brandon
use her pilot ability against Red?
I think Brandon missed the trigger. I was sitting here waiting for it, and it didn't happen.
Did Asajj use her pilot ability against Red?
No, because it'd have a stress token.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a focus token either.
That's why I'm saying Asajj did. I think Brandon forgot to do Asajj's ability.
But then why doesn't Red have a focus token?
Because
Palob stole it.
Palob stole it, and that's why I was saying Palob stole it, and then Asajj, I thought, should have done her ability on yellow. So it'd keep it from slooping next turn, or it loses the focus. I mean, he's got 2 focus stealing sort of engagement abilities, but I think he only used 1.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't think you're really worried about them slooping next turn. I mean, they can just move past you and focus and still shoot you out the back.
You've got it in your list, though, so use it.
Oh, agreed. Leighton just popping a shot here.
At yellow, range 3.
Yeah, not spending the focus. You need to be prepped for that shot coming back at you, and you weren't going to do damage anyway. So smart token play by Brandon here, getting that free evade from Leighton after missing the shot and guaranteeing no damage. Palob will have a shot. Looks like range 2 out the side. Mm-hmm. He probably would rather shoot Red here, which is through an obstacle, but that's evened out a little bit by the tractor.
Right.
Which I think, were you wondering why Brandon didn't move Red?
I was thinking he was going to barrel roll him to the left.
Well, so this is your answer. This is your answer. He wanted to shoot him with Palob. And he succeeds in that by dealing 2 damage.
Wow. Well, no, so now we're down to half on TISF.
Right. So Brandon very, very well ahead on points here. Scorch is dead. One of the SFs is at half and circling the drain here with only 2 health left. And Brandon still only down 1 shield. That, if you are Gene, you are very much hoping that is about to change. You have a range 1 shot on Asajj here. To shoot anybody else would be folly.
Right.
But because of Paylob, you don't have any mods.
Right.
So Gene, hoping his dice come through to bail him out of this. They do partly. That is a hit crit. But Asajj is out of force as well. But it doesn't matter because Asajj rolled 2 natty evades again.
Because Asajj should only be rolling 1 because she's strained.
Oh, that is a good point. Can you hold on?
Yeah, I got it.
So they're noticing the error and they're re-rolling. Asajj rolling nothing but evades thus far in this game. That has to have Gene a little rankled. But the other problem is he's just not pointing enough firepower at Asajj.
And then Brandon mauls to get a force back.
Yeah. So Asajj finally out of shields. Still needs 3 more damage to get to half, but that is doable, and that's a chunk of points if Gene can accomplish that.
So 1 hit on Leighton.
Right, and obviously that's just a throwaway.
Okay.
Yeah. So Brandon has 51 points thus far.
Right.
To Gene's 0. That looks really bad. If Gene can get 3 more damage onto Asajj, which could be 1 round of shooting, even a half round of shooting, 1 shot from Kylo could accomplish that. That would be 44 points coming his direction.
Mm-hmm.
If he manages to kill Asajj, that's 87 total. Which still puts him ahead, even if he loses the rest of that SF.
Right.
So this game looks very decisive in Brandon's favor. It is not over. We have 3 turns left. We're going to run the clock out on this turn, almost certainly, leaving us with the Corona Cup 2 additional after 0 turns.
Mm-hmm.
And Gene's options here are dwindling. He needs to deal at least 3 damage to Asajj, period. And then he needs to think long and hard about what he does next. Leighton, not a great source of points, only 34 total and decently hard to hit. But those SFs could still make something happen.
Mm-hmm.
Asajj, a great source of points still.
Right.
But you have to catch her. If Brandon has any advantage, or if Gene has an advantage here, it's that Paylob is just out of position.
Mm-hmm.
He's not in a position to threaten Kylo. He's not in a position to do a ton of damage, especially with Asajj about to shoot past. And Kylo is actually right in the perfect position to block a 5K from Asajj. So Asajj not able to turn around this turn.
Right.
So what these SFs probably just gonna go straight. Or I could see them slooping to continue chasing Asajj and maybe put a bump in on.
The options aren't great for Gene with the SFs. I mean, the yellow can sloop, but the red can't.
You know what I could see is a 1 bank with yellow to the right, focus, and a 2 hard turn with red to the right, focus. That gives you a lot of Asajj coverage.
It does. I mean, they shoot the same out the back as they do the front.
Exactly. And you get those range 1 shots. You're not in her front arc anymore. You start taking a lot less damage when Asajj isn't pointed right at you, range 1. Same with Paylob. What Gene does with Kylo here is extremely decisive. He has 3 turns here to make something happen with Kylo. Kylo has shot exactly 1 time this game and dealt a total of 1 damage. Kylo is 94 points of Gene's list, which means that for this whole game until now, half of Gene's list has essentially gotten him 1 shield and a slightly out of position Leighton. Which is to say not much. Leighton also hasn't been doing much for Brandon this game, but Leighton only cost 37 points.
I think Palob could do a 2 hard right this next turn.
I'm concerned about that. Because you hit that gas cloud, you take the strain. Depending on where those SFs go, you're risking a range 1 shot into Palob, and there's no way for Brandon to lose this game faster than getting Palob to half.
That's true.
You know, if Palob just makes a bad move and goes to half in 1 round of shooting, then all Gene really needs to do is not die with Kylo and take 3 more damage off of Asajj.
You've got a point. I've been playing Poe this Corona 2. He's 76 points, and this Palob is 79. It's exactly. It's the most ridiculous Palob ever.
Right. And so this is if Gene was going to make something happen with Palob, it was going to be in one of 2 things. One, Brandon fucks up a maneuver and hits a gas cloud, gets strained, doesn't have any tokens to steal, et cetera, et cetera. Or Kylo hits him with a torpedo, breaks that stealth, and then takes him to half with the rest of his ships.
Mm-hmm.
Absent the first happening with 3 turns left to go, that the ship has really sailed largely for Kylo's ability to do that. If he's going to shoot that second torp, it's probably going to be on Asajj.
So if you're going to try to protect your 79 points in Palob, like we were talking a minute ago, is he going straight? Is that what we're doing?
I think you would go straight. Take another evade or take a focus and steal what you can. That leaves you open to, but this is another reason why Gene might want to just 1 bank and 2 hard turn away to get away from Palob. But that, at the very least, you can still take a pot shot out the side, especially if the SF sloop or if they go after Leighton. And yeah, it protects Palob, it protects your investment, and still puts him in a, if the SFs do turn around like that, then next turn Palob can feel a lot more secure in 2 hard turning around that gas cloud and getting back into position for 1 more shot at the end. And with almost 0 risk of damage to Palob.
Do you see him Brandon doing a pretty fast maneuver with Asajj?
Asajj is the difficult one. Those SF's probably going to get out of the way, but they don't have to. Gene could choose to just ram them into Asajj, to stay in position and try to take pot shots out the back, especially if he's getting frustrated about Palob consistently stealing his actions from him.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that being viable. Yeah, I think Asajj wants to do a 2 bank, probably.
Yeah, but she's stressed is the problem with that.
Is her 3 bank blue?
Her 3s are all blue.
Then I would 3 bank with Asajj to the right.
Yeah.
Kylo is stressed, will not be pulling a 1 hard turn. Kylo needs to do a 2 hard turn or a 2 bank or something.
Well,
look
at this. Brandon's dropping a seismic, so that probably means Asajj isn't going to be within range 1 of that rock.
or he's just saying that Asajj can take a damage. It's fine.
I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. We'll see how this goes. Certainly, the most likely people to be hit by that. Actually, that's a weird choice. Brandon would only be doing that if he thought that red SF was going to bump into Asajj somehow. But that seems like a strange place for that red to be. Those SFs are going to start revealing soon here, and we'll see what they want to do. You would probably do Gene flipping all of his dials instead of 1 at a time for some reason. You probably want to do yellow first, get him out of the way. But he's going to be doing that 3 sloop.
Yeah.
That will clear. Just setting up to chase Asajj next turn, and Palob can't be stealing my actions if I don't have any actions to steal. Also might be putting him in a good position if Leighton decides to come up pretty hard to chase Kylo. Mm-hmm. But if I'm Leighton, I'm probably not doing that. And then the 1 bank from red. So Brandon very well reading what red was going to do. and getting the seismic all set up to do another automatic point of damage to red and bring him down to 1 health.
And Leighton will finish it off.
Yeah, Leighton in a very good position there to do something. That'll be a question for Brandon. Do you finish off red, or do you take the shot and intentionally miss to get that evade and guarantee yellow doesn't shoot you? Well, the yellow probably just, shooting Asajj no matter what. Paylob, yeah, he's just going to very casually move forward. There's no reason to do anything else.
You might have
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, just guaranteeing that no damage will be done to him. Brandon, being very, very careful with his ship here. That's a weird one. I mean, you were right. The second he put down that seismic, you were pretty secure that Asajj was not going to be there.
Right.
And he is essentially guaranteeing that Kylo will do no damage.
And
do you read this as Brandon just saying there's 3 turns left? This is the third to last turn. Time ran out during this turn.
Yeah, so I don't know why Asajj didn't point her arc backwards, so she can take a range 2 shot at red or maybe Kylo.
Yeah, and Kylo very easily going to be able to arc dodge here. If I was Kylo, I would be focusing and boosting.
Yeah.
You need points on the board, and if you boost to the right and focus, you are in an absurdly good position to chase Asajj next turn. He is going to choose to just boost.
Why?
Maybe he doesn't want. Maybe he doesn't want the stress. Maybe he thinks that Asajj will just stress him anyway. He might also be thinking, maybe I barrel roll here. I'm not going to get out of her arc. So maybe I can boost and then barrel roll to the left. And then come up. But I really think the focus boost was the better choice there. Instead, he's going to choose to barrel roll. And that will give him the ability to 2 hard turn to the right and come up behind Asajj and shove a torp up her butt.
Kylo may take a damage.
He might from that seismic. Yeah. Yeah, it is possible. Not the end of the world, but it is possible. Well, we'll see what happens here. This would be the time where they decide that. Looks like they're just automatically saying, yeah. And then it looks like they're saying Kylo was not a range 1.
Okay.
So we have a couple of shots here. We have none of them are truly decisive, really. But we do have Leighton deciding who Leighton wants to shoot.
Oh my goodness, Asajj actually has Kylo.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Kylo did not get out of arc there because he doesn't have a focus. He does take the double stress, and this was the problem with that decision. If you were going to get out of Asajj's arc, you had to barrel roll first. You had to barrel roll
really close,
to the right
though.
And then boost.
I mean, that is
really
close.
Gene just a slight misjudge there, but risking a lot on that gamble that he was going to get out of arc and just not getting it.
Wow.
So we have a double stressed Kylo with 2 turns to go after this, which means Kylo will be taking exactly 1 more action for the rest of this game, and that is not happy Kylo. But Kylo will have a shot. He's got a range 3 at Paylob, and if he has any sense at all, he will not be taking it.
He's doing instinctive aim to shoot the proton torp.
Paylob. No. So that's a gamble.
He's got 1 eyeball mott is what he's got. And he's going to be taking a shot from Asajj.
That's an extreme gamble from Gene there. And the dice are only partly giving him what he needs. He rolled
He's going for
hit
broke.
crit. He's doing it. Who's he shooting?
Paylob, I think.
He's shooting Paylob. No.
Yeah, because it's 3 dice, right?
Well, Paylob
is going to lose his shield, lose his stealth device.
No. He's got an evade, and he can spend that focus token to re-roll those 2 blanks. So he's going to do that first.
Oh, okay.
He's got an evade. He's spending his focus to re-roll those 2.
The 8 points that Brandon spent on Lando Crew is actually going to come into play here.
Yes, it is. And he's going to get 2 evades out of it for absolutely nothing. No damage to Paylob.
There's some curse words flying now, I'm sure.
Well, the thing is, Gene should have known that he had an extremely low chance of doing any damage with only 1 mod.
It was actually a really good final result, given that he could modify an eyeball.
Absolutely. No, Gene was begging the dice to bail him out there, and the dice decided not to do that. When we talk about dice results, we need to remember what the situation that's bringing them into play. And the situation that's bringing this into play was a move by Gene that left him out in the open there and was causing him to ask for good dice on 4 dice results.
So I think Leighton is probably shooting the red.
That makes sense. That's too many dice for red, though, unless that's at range. I think this is more likely Paylob's shots.
Oh, Paylob shot.
Oh, no, this is Asajj's shot. This is Asajj's shot at Kylo. Asajj rolling 2 dice out the side.
And she didn't have the force
nothing
to mod him. So
yeah, she's got 1 force, but she wants to regen back up to full. You can tell what Gene was really trying to do, though, was that he was thinking, okay, I'm in the perfect position with Kylo to chase after Paylob next turn. If I can take his stealth here, I can chase him with Kylo and take him to half while the SS work on Asajj and take her to half.
I don't think Brandon's going to spend it. So just one hit through the gas cloud at Yellow.
Yeah, he wants to keep it. You know what? He could have spent his evade, but he's probably worried about the red taking a pot shot.
Right.
Should have gas cloud to mod that still, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He's got the 1 evade, so it doesn't matter.
Right. All right. Well, no, that was Paylob shooting at Yellow through a gas cloud.
That's right.
And now this is Leighton shooting.
Right.
Again, none of these shots are really significant, although Leighton could take red off the board here. And that might be why he chooses to spend his focus, and he's doing it. He only has to do 1 point of damage to take red off the board and save Asajj, and he does exactly 1 point of damage. That seismic cementing red's death here before red gets to shoot at Asajj. So, and that also has to be really bad for Gene.
What I'm hearing is, once again, the players know better than the commentators. That's what I'm hearing.
What I'm hearing is that bump was a bad decision for Gene. He should have known better.
Well, but we just questioned the seismic.
Yeah, we absolutely questioned the seismic.
I think Yellow's going to get a range 1 shot on Leighton.
Yellow is, although the question is, do you shoot Leighton or do you shoot Asajj?
Well, the other thing, too, is I don't know if Brandon remembered to get his evade on Leighton.
He doesn't get an evade. He hit.
That's right.
Leighton only gets evades if if the attack misses.
So Yellow could do some damage to Leighton right here.
Right, which is why he spent his focus, though. This is a rare instance where you actually want to rare instance where you actually want to hit with Leighton. He's got the range 1 at Leighton. He's got the range 3 on an Asajj with a force.
I like the Leighton shot better as far as actually doing damage, but whatever. Because he's got no mods. Yeah,
it's certainly possible. They're both rolling the same amount of dice. That's just, I think if Gene has his eye on the victory, even though it looks like it's fading from view, if Gene has his eye on the victory, he needs to shoot Asajj. There is no universe where he has the shots to shoot at anyone other than Asajj and still win this game.
Mm-hmm.
With that SF anyway.
Sure.
Even if he just manages to do 1 point of damage, or hell, even if he manages to drain that last force, that's still putting him in a better position to win. But he's going to shoot Leighton instead just try to get some points on the board. He's going to miss the attack on the box, which does not bode well for his actual roll. But it's a hit crit on Leighton, who rolls triple blanks.
Wow.
So that's going to be Gene's first damage on the board. Leighton going to take some damage and a disabled power regulator. So still in the game, but that is a couple of points to Gene. And problem is, what exactly do you do with that?
Yeah, you're right that it would have been a better... You'd be closer on Asajj right now with that roll, but
the game, again, is not over. Gene still has a win condition.
Mm-hmm.
He would be better able to meet that win condition if he had not put that torp on Paylob. And I really just think that was a desperation move by Gene. But if he had held that torp, he could have launched it at Asajj here and been in a much better position to start killing her.
Right.
As it is, Kylo is double stressed and will only have one force. Paylob out of the fight. Right?
Yeah, I think Paylob does its job where he keeps on. I see him doing it too hard to the right.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever token you took yellow, I'll take it.
Yeah, although if Gene knows what he's doing here, he's going to... Are the two banks on the SFs blue?
I'll look. But I'll remember to take it off this time because I left our poor viewers with the dial staring them in the face for a while until they were screaming at me, and rightfully so.
Right.
So here's the dial for the SF. So the 1 banks and straights, 2 banks and straights, and 3 straight are all blue. So you have to bank or straight.
So you got to do a 2 bank here with that SF and target lock Asajj. Kylo has to choose here. There's 2 choices Kylo can make. Kylo can either 5 straight after Paylob.
Mm-hmm.
And try to get Paylob to half, but you have to break through the stealth device and push 3 damage to get Paylob to half. And with only 1 ship shooting at him, my friend, that is next to impossible. You have to get into range 1 to even dream about doing that. And I don't see that happening with a double stressed Kylo. The better choice for Kylo to make and for Gene to make is to realize that though he is behind by 52 points, Asajj is worth 87. If he can deal 8 damage to Asajj without going to half on yellow or half on Kylo, he can still win this game.
He's got to do 4 a turn for 2 turns.
He's got to do 4 a turn for 2 turns. And this is where I'm saying he would have a much better shot at doing that if he hadn't wasted his torp on Paylob.
Well, he wasn't double stressed.
Well, that too. I think Kylo unfortunately making a couple of just small optimization errors last turn that have added up to put him in a very unfortunate position.
Yeah, because if he still, I hear what you're saying. If he still had the torp and he had 1 stress right now, he'd 2 hard right, and he could take 3 off of Asajj by himself this turn, probably.
Right.
And
here's the other path.
Do 1, and then there you go. That's your formula for 2 turns.
Exactly. Let me say this, though. Here's the other path to victory that Gene can take, and I think the math bears out. If Gene also does not lose any points on the rest of his ships, which, to be fair, Brandon's no longer in a really good position to make Gene lose any of the rest of his ships, then he's still full on yellow and Kylo. If he kills Leighton and he puts Asajj to half, that's also enough points to take this game. That might be more doable. Kylo could swing in here with a 2 bank and pressure Leighton. The SF could move 1 straight and focus. And between the 2 of them, they could kill Leighton
You
and
can't
then try to move up.
You can't one straight focus because Payload's going to steal it.
That's a good point. You could one straight and
you can one straight
lock.
Target lock. You better pick the
or
right
you could
ship.
Or you could two bank. You could two bank and focus. Paylob not going to be at range 2 to steal a focus if you two bank to the left that SF. So I think that's probably the best call. You two bank and focus that SF. Take a shot at Asajj or Leighton. There's the one bank.
If you half Leighton and get half Asajj, you're winning.
Mm-hmm. And then Kylo probably two bank.
Right.
Or two hard turn. Leighton is going to be easiest to kill on the final turn of this game because of that disabled power regulator, unless Brandon.
But that focus is about to go away.
This is the problem with that one bank that I don't quite like, but he could still be at range 3 depending on Paylob's move here. It is not impossible.
I think Paylob's doing it too hard.
Paylob also has a boost. There's nothing stopping Paylob from too hard turning and then boosting upright. Yeah. So even if he's not at range 2 now, he probably will be in about 3 seconds if Brandon is. Because what else is Paylob? Plus, if Paylob boosts, he actually gets a shot on yellow because yellow.
Well, and he gets the focus back. He steals it, right? So why not?
Absolutely,
why not?
And you're stressed, but who cares? Nobody's pointing at you.
Well, the yellow is, but.
Yeah, no, actually, that's a very, very good point. Yellow is still pointed at Paylob. Brandon continually choosing the safest possible route for Paylob. Mm-hmm. And Asajj moving up and away. And why would you do anything else? And once again, this is why the two bank was the better choice. If he had two banked, he would have a shot on Leighton, and he would have a shot on Asajj. Instead, if he has a shot on Asajj, he's lucky, but I don't know that he'll get it.
And Brandon keeps, correctly evading with Asajj.
Oh yeah, he knows. Kylo Ren doing the too hard turn and proceeding to have absolutely no one in his arc. And that is just the worst thing you can see for Jean right
this
here.
Is this range 1 bullseye arc with Leighton?
I think, and that's the thing. Leighton has earned a range 1 bullseye auto blaster into Kylo. And in return, Jean has I think maybe
no shots.
I
don't think he has a shot at all.
Paylob checking for stealing is just going to be a little bit out of arc. But, also doesn't really care. He'll still have a shot. Asajj looking for targets to stress, but nobody close enough to do so.
Well, and he can tell from the arc that Kylo's not going to shoot him now.
Right.
So Kylo no shots, I believe.
Yeah, they checked Kylo, no valid targets. Asajj.
I think, don't you shoot Kylo?
I mean, you shoot Kylo.
Knock a force
off,
maybe?
Why would you shoot anybody else? I mean, you're not going to do much. Though Brandon's just not... Brandon's win condition is just don't freaking die, and he's doing that. Doesn't really matter who he shot, but just well enough to not take any damage for Jean there. This is the more interesting shot here. Leighton... range 1 bullseye auto blaster into Kylo. That's 4 dice and an automatic unavoidable crit no matter how well Kylo rolls. The game could be over right here. Kylo will have 2 force or one force. But that's not the best roll in the game. However,
it'll do 1 shield.
2 crits.
Because of marksmanship.
Right. Which is going to be 2 unavoidable damage on Kylo, no matter what he rolls. And that is going to be a shields down Kylo.
Mm-hmm.
And now this is even more dangerous for Jean because he can't take any damage on that Kylo now, period.
Right.
We'll also see if the yellow does not have a shot on Asajj this turn, this is over.
Because you can't do enough damage.
Right. Paylob rolling 2 hits. SF getting, or Kylo, I guess, getting 2 evades. He was looking to put 1 more damage through Kylo there. Don't really blame him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see what the SF has.
Maybe nothing.
We'll see.
But I
He
mean,
has
he's
to at
got
least have
evade
Paylob.
force, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the problem. He will have a range 3 on Asajj. The chances of him doing any damage at range 3 are almost impossible.
it kind of feels like Brandon has Park Place and Boardwalk with hotels on them.
Right,
We're just kind of playing it out.
Well, Asajj needs to roll 3 blanks for any damage to happen, and he rolls completely average. So no damage here from this SF. And the win condition has just slipped completely away from Gene. To win, Leighton is going to be ioned. You can get a very good shot on Leighton here.
Did they put the ion token down on Leighton?
No, you might remind them.
I'm going to do that right now.
Unless, yeah, Leighton did not flip disabled power regulator. So this is increasingly dicey for Gene, but it is still not over. Like we said, he doesn't have to kill Asajj. 1 win condition for Gene is that he could take Asajj to half and kill Leighton. Now, Leighton is going to be ioned. You know exactly where Leighton's going to be, and I think it's going to be bumped into Kylo with no actions to speak of.
It's so close. But I think you're right. I think you're right.
Leighton's going to 1 straight bump into Kylo, no action. 1 health left.
We were talking about this a minute ago. So you're saying the SF does it too hard to the right?
I think so.
And
I think you have to have the SF finish off Leighton because Kylo is simply not in a position to do so.
I think so. Yellow would too hard right, target lock Leighton.
Correct.
Hope that he can take Leighton off the board.
Correct.
And then Kylo somehow gets Kylo
2 hard turns, focuses and boosts. You have to get range 1 to have a reasonable hope of putting 3 damage through on Asajj. Because Brandon will be evading because he knows full well this is his lose condition here.
Right. Evade with 3 force is pretty crazy.
Correct. So again, Asajj would need to roll into range 1 and count on Asajj rolling 2 blanks. Or pushing a direct crit through. But it is still possible. Stranger things have happened. But that's your only win condition for Gene. Yellow kills Leighton. Kylo puts 3 damage on Asajj. And again, all of this would be far more useful if he had that torp. But at this point, that's neither here nor there. Yellow moving. Gene's doing all he can to win this game, and he's making the right calls right now. And that
absolutely.
Yellow, if he's reading this right, really needs to take that target lock because Paylob will steal his.
Is he going to barrel roll?
If he barrel rolls, this game is done. And the wrinkle to all of this, we've been talking about hopes and dreams here, but the wrinkle to all of this is that Kylo is 1 health away from half.
That's right.
So the reason that's there it is. The reason that's an issue, like Kylo, 2 hard turn, focus, roll into range 1, shoot Asajj with forward dice, direct hit. Asajj goes down to half. Even then, Kylo cannot take damage from Leighton or from Asajj. Any damage at all if he's going to win this game.
Says it didn't bump, but I don't believe it. Oh, maybe it didn't.
I think that I was incorrect, and that is just a micron. And that is not what Gene wants to see because that win condition is slipping farther and farther away.
That's as close as it gets, folks. I can see daylight.
And with the daylight comes a focus token for Leighton, and that SF is going to have trouble pushing damage. But again, only 1 damage needed, so it's not impossible.
I'm surprised he did
just a little bit more difficult.
Evade, I guess he thinks he'll get more.
No, he's ioned.
That's right.
He's
Thank
Ion.
Thank you.
Only focus. Paylob gonna 2 hard turn and just say screw it. You neener. Take an evade. I have really no concept of why, except just
I'm actually surprised he didn't take a target lock on Kylo.
Yeah, or yellow or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Kylo probably not going to be there anymore to be shot. But you could take a target lock on yellow and just grab a few extra points maybe. Asajj moving, considering a target lock, but going for the evade instead, and that is once again the absolute correct call.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon's lose condition here is Asajj going to half with other things happening too, and that evade is just making it even harder on Gene.
Now we're getting to yellow has to kill Leighton, and Kylo has to give direct hits to Asajj. Is where we're getting to now.
Yeah, and that's an increasingly problematic place for Gene to be. Stranger things have happened. Gene is playing this last turn the best he can, and that's, again, I'll say this: whoever wins or loses, these players are both excellent players,
and it's a close game still.
Very good players. And one of the ways that they're very good players is that they continually go for the win, even to the very last moment.
Mm-hmm.
Does this look bad for Gene? Hell yes, it looks bad for Gene. Is he going to let that stop him from making the moves he needs to make to maybe pull out a win? Absolutely not. He's going to keep going for the win right until the point where he can't anymore. And
don't you have to target lock boost? Not what you have to do.
Now you have to focus boost. You've got advanced optics. I would focus.
Okay.
If it were me. I mean, you can target lock. It's just then you roll that 4 focus result, and you don't have enough force. And
I hear you.
And plus,
whatever you do,
you got to take.
It's wrong.
Right. That's the other thing. This is so. His ability to do this is so far fetched in the first place that the thing you have to remember though is you got to consider your defense too. But he's going with you, Charles, and so if he loses this game, I'm going to tell him.
It's my fault. Okay,
right.
fine.
That's right. Yeah,
fine.
So he's going to target lock, and then he has to boost.
I don't know why you don't.
You have to boost, Gene. Gene,
you trying to tell him?
I don't know. If he's at range 1, he doesn't have to boost, but I think he's just slightly out of range 1 here, and
it's like a billion voices cried all out at once. And
no,
said you have to boost,
Gene, you just lost the game. Look at that,
but
just
is it
barely
range
at range 2. It's just barely range 2, and with that decision, unfortunately, Gene has not definitively lost, but it just got so much harder for him.
Yeah, because Asajj has evade and force.
Yeah, so now what needs to happen is Gene needs to roll hit crit somehow.
Right.
And Asajj needs to roll double blanks. We'll spend an evade, and then that needs to be a direct hit.
That's exactly what I was saying a minute ago. It's got to be direct hits now.
Or you have to roll multiple crits and then turn it into a fuel leak or something. I don't know.
Some kind of crit that does an extra damage is the only way to do it.
You really needed to guarantee your range 1, and unfortunately Gene's decision to not boost, which I don't really understand because you're stressed, but
it's the last turn. Who cares?
Yeah, just take the stress Asajj gives you. Unfortunately, his decision there has meant that he will not.
Are they like double checking this because they just don't believe it?
I think Gene is probably saying, I do not believe that is not range 1.
Well, it is. It is range 2.
Yeah, it is range 2, and there's not much he can do about it. I mean, you got to just, the program tells you it's range 2 here. And the thing is, again, there was literally no reason. Gene's probably thinking, what the hell do you mean that wasn't range 1? There was no reason for him to not guarantee range 1.
Right.
No reason whatsoever. And unfortunately, he's living with the consequences of that gamble, no matter how much of a sure thing he thought it was. And it's just making his ability to win this game that much harder. Although, you know what? This would be, and I'm going to rag on him just a little bit more. You know what this position would be great for? If he still had that torpedo.
Actually, it would be. It'd actually be the better position.
It would be the best position. Not only would a torpedo guarantee you a critical hit, but it would be 4 dice and you'd only be taking 2 in return. That Paylob winning this game for Brandon just by virtue of having shots wasted on him.
I guess they're still debating it. I don't know what.
Well, it looks like they're moving into shots. It's just going to be range 1 there from Kylo, and that really has to hurt for Gene.
Ouch.
And that's not the best roll to get you started either.
I know one of us said take the target lock.
Well played for sure. So
what is that about?
Oh, I think he just is being salty about dice, I'm sure. Well, he's got to spend the lock to re-roll those. He'll choose to just re-roll the blanks.
It's not going to be enough, right?
Not going to be nearly enough. He can spend 2 of his force, but it will not matter in any way, shape, or form. And he's just going to whiff the attack. He knows full well that's not enough to do anything. And Asajj would have rolled 2 evades anyway with that evade token. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is game. There is some cleanup to do. Asajj looking for points here. Oh my God, the salt in the wound. Kylo is at range 1 of Asajj shooting.
It's weird how the arcs work.
Salt in the wound. Kylo's arc just a little bit tilted, oddly, to not quite get the corner and range 1 on Asajj. Asajj, having the wider arc pointed to the right, has no such problems and will get a range 1 on Kylo. Gene already having lost the game, but that's still got to be that's still got to be a bit of an issue.
So here's going to be the 3 hits and the crit coming.
Absolutely. Well, it's only going to be 3 dice total because it's a side arc.
Oh, that's right.
It doesn't have front. But 3 natty crits absolutely incoming here from Asajj into Kylo. Leighton will have no shot. Paylob will have a shot on Kylo as well that Brandon will almost certainly take because why would you not? You have the evade for rerolls and the focus.
Why is he rolling 2 dice?
I believe what we're seeing here is either Asajj. We'll see. Well, let's see how many dice Gene rolls. He could be shooting the SF. No, what we see here in the wild is the Brandon being nice to his opponent.
I guess
no, never mind. He's rolling. Never mind. Brandon isn't being nice to anybody at all. He's rolling range 1 on Kylo for 2 hits and a crit. And that is a Kylo at half, ladies and gentlemen. He will be taking that crit. And he'll have to spend both force for the privilege of only taking that crit, which means he's also going to be a little defenseless when he takes that probable range 3 from Paylob. Again, this is all really clean up. MOV doesn't matter in
right in the Corona Cup 2. It's just 4
in Corona Cup 2. Exactly. So Gene isn't really. At this point, I've lost all track of what's happening.
Are we re-rolling? Is that what we're doing?
I have no clue.
Because Gene didn't take any damage cards.
I have no clue what's happening. That has to have been a reroll, right?
It has to be.
Why?
But why?
I don't understand why you would do that.
I don't know. I understand why Brandon wouldn't because it was 2 hits and a crit.
Right. Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with their first round of rolls. It's a strange idea there, but whatever. Again, it doesn't really matter at this point. So Brandon will be moving on to being 3-0. And Gene will be 2-1, but that does not put him out of the eliminations quite yet. Anyone who goes 4-1 will be in the cut. So he will still be able to make it if he wins his next 2 games. And I believe we just had Brandon jump in. The players probably deciding that they don't need to continue this any longer.
Oh yeah, he conceded a minute ago.
Oh really?
Yeah, we've been just kind of playing it out, but yeah, he threw in the towel.
Yeah, well, after that attack on Asajj, there was no win condition there.
Hello?
Hey, bud.
Hey, can you hear us?
Fucking figured it out.
Well, thanks, guys. That was a hell of a game.
I wish. I hope to get a close game.
Yeah, that Kylo Torp on Paylob we were bemoaning.
You know what? I've had no luck with those Torps. I've used it once, I think, in every game, and I've gotten nothing. I think I've gotten 1 hit every time I've used it, at most. I never seem to get anything with it. I wasn't expecting a whole lot out of trying to shoot a Paylob, though, with all the rerolls and shit that he has.
Gene, what do you think is a more fun experience? Shooting Paylob with 2 or 3 dice attacks, or pissing into the wind?
I don't know, man. I think probably wearing pork chop underwear and a Den of Lions would probably be better.
All right, that's good.
Yeah, and I mean, my idea was initially I wanted to go for Asajj because I figured that's probably the juiciest ship you got. Mm-hmm. It has the least amount of mods and whatever, but you did good putting him in a spot that it was a little harder to get to. Yeah, so I wasn't able to get really good shots on him.
Yeah, and I was worried.
I kept forgetting about Palom's ability every single turn and kept losing all my green tokens when I really wanted to target lock.
Yeah, that first time that the Scorch, you just took that Scorch action right in front of Paylob, and Charles and I were going, "No, Gene."
Yeah, I just totally forgot about it, and then I was like, son of a bitch. And then I was like, why? And I did it again, like the very next turn, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, actually, no. The next turn you target locked with Scorch, but that was the turn Brandon went all in on Scorch and just wiped him from the face of the earth. And you didn't really get to see a return on investment there.
Oh, yeah, because he got killed before he even got...
Well, no, he got to shoot, but Asajj pre-stressed him.
So you
couldn't take a focus because Paylob was right there. So you shot, did nothing to Paylob, and then you got put on a rock and then just deleted.
Yeah.
Paylob doing work there just by fucking existing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I didn't have... Yeah. I couldn't... losing Scorch sucked too, because like those other guys just shoot 2 dice attacks just isn't against his list just isn't any good. There's just you're not going to put any damage through. You have to get at range 1, but the problem being in range 1 is you're going to get smacked real hard in return, and you're
we were
stressed or not have any tokens. Either way. So
we were interested by your decision to kind of like hang the SFs back and present Scorch first.
Well, that wasn't the actual intent. So the intent was to try to get all of them at once. But when he moved in real aggressive with Asajj and came into the middle like that, I was kind of hoping he would take Asajj and go around. If you look on the map, I don't know if you're still looking at the map. But I was hoping to come around this area instead of turn in. But then I figured since I kind of put Kylo and shit over there, he was going to do that. And then I was like, damn it. I was hoping he was going to go around the outside. Then it would have been perfect because then I could have moved Kylo and Scorching up the back. But, yeah, he turned in real hard there, which is exactly what he should have done. And then, they were out of position for that one turn. And then it was kind of like, I was hoping to try to time it where I got all 4 there at the same time, but it didn't pan out.
Sure, that makes sense.
We were guessing, Brandon, that you were surprised by the way Gene was playing the SFs and you had to change your tactic there. Is that true, or did you see it?
Yeah, no, I really didn't. So, like, I made a comment at the beginning of the game when he deployed center field, and because basically he wasn't committing to a corner, he wasn't giving me that information ahead of time, so I wasn't really sure what they were going to do. And then that first turn they turned away, I thought, well, maybe he's gonna run off. And then when he did the 3 sloop to come back around, I had already decided I was going to commit in on Kylo and Scorch. So yeah, I was like, man, I hope that 2 dice attacks don't just ruin my life. And so I just kind of tanked up and decided I was just going to try to eat him. But then when he swung in wide to where he was throwing those 2 dice attacks on Paylob, I was like, oh, well, this is fine. Like if he was throwing them at Asajj, I would have been a little concerned because she has a tendency to roll blanks on greens. And other than the evade, I don't really have an answer for that. But Paylob doesn't really care about blanks because he is very skilled at X-Wing or something.
Well, he's got Lando, right? And he's
Right.
got token stealing. And I was glad that you had that one opportunity when you rolled evade blank blank and then spent your focus to re-roll the 2 blanks with Lando. I was like, good, that 8 points actually mattered this game.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Oh, Lando's totally worth it, especially on that build.
Absolutely.
This is the most ridiculous Paylob build in the history of mankind.
Yeah, and I never really wanted to shoot at Paylob like ever, but then there was just times it's like really the only shot I had. So, I took it. And I thought, well, if I could sneak that Torp in there and take that stealth device, then what I might have done is went ahead and went after Paylob. Because if you can take that stealth device off, then it's not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's what I was worried about with
on
stealth device.
We were expecting you to try and toss a Torp, a Paylob. It was just unfortunate that turn that you were tossing a Torp was with just 1 force as a mod.
Yeah,
I don't think it mattered anyway, right? I don't know. I can't even remember what I rolled.
No,
you rolled
hit.
You rolled no. This was the turn he was rolling. He was double stressed because of Asajj.
Oh,
and he had no mods because he'd chosen to boost and barrel roll, hoping to get out of arc, and just didn't quite get it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So he spent a force to instinctive aim. So he only had 1 force to mod, and he rolled like hit, eyeball.
Right.
So if he had any kind of mods, that would have been an auto stealth device lost on Paylob, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what Paylob worries about, those 4 dice attacks, especially the 4 dice at range 3 attacks. Because, there's plenty of things out there that'll get 4 dice at range 1, but a lot of those things will die trying to come in because of the sheer firepower of the Asajj Paylob combo with the tractor beam and all that business.
And then you got to worry about losing your tokens and taking stress and all kinds of extra.
Right.
So it's tough to get that. And I still just can't figure out. Like, I'm just not any good with Kylo. Like, and I thought, I don't know, because I don't know. This is only the 3rd time I've ever played him. And then I looked at his dial and said, man, this dial's not that great. It's good, but it's not that great. Like, I'm like, everything makes him out to be. And it's funny because, when I've played against him, people hype him up. And I'm like, I've never really had a problem with Kylo.
Yeah, those 3 blue banks are so terrible.
Oh, that's the thing. You say that,
from
Charles,
Gene.
But I brought up in the game, he was like, man, this dial's not great. And I said, yeah, it's too bad you don't have a blue hard 3 like I do.
And I really wanted a blue hard 3 on that one turn. I was like, oh, man, if I blew hard 3 here and then I could barrel roll out of the way of that rock, this would be perfect. Oh, wait. That's not there.
No, I think the Kylo dial is pretty good.
I gotta hardly disagree with you there.
It's good, but it's not great. It really isn't. I'd rather have Asajj's dial while you bullshit.
I don't know. I think you try Asajj and you start talking about how bad her dial is.
I know the RZ2 has
one red.
Right. Like, I know you'd want the blue bank from the RZ2, but Kylo,
and worth noting, the Silencer had that blue bank in 1.0.
He did. It for 2. He did, but he still got barrel roll boost and force. That's not terrible. So
I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying it's a bad dial at all. What I'm saying it's not as great as, and that's why I said I've played against him. But I've never had a problem playing against him, and now I kind of see why it's not. It's just not as great as some of the other aces out there. But, and then the way that action thing is kind of how he, the only other additional actions he gets is a boost or a barrel roll. So it's not like some of these other ships that are doing just all this other extra crazy crap after they move. It's like, okay, you get a boost or a barrel roll, but you're not doing hard ones. You're not doing 2 additional actions. You're not doing all that other madness. So, I mean, he's good. I'm nothing
really compares to Jedi.
No. Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or even Vader when he gets crazy. But
I think the argument for Vader is a little bit harder because he
doesn't have a negative boost. So
he doesn't have the boost. He doesn't have the one hard turn.
Now that he doesn't have the boost,
Right. But I think they're roughly equivalent though, because Vader does have something Kylo would kill for, which is a 1 fucking straight.
Well, the other thing Vader has that's cool is an actual good pilot ability. So there's that.
Very true.
And once again, I could have put the thing on Asajj, and not that it mattered because I never
it didn't matter.
But I forget that stupid ability because it's pert near worthless, and I forget to even do it. And I didn't even know the SF dial's worth of shit because on that turn when I turned around, I did the sloops. I wanted to do K turns, and I was like, oh wait, they don't have a K turn.
Right.
I guess I'll go with the sloop. At least it fit. I was like, thank God it fit.
The whole faction is kind of a sloop faction. Like if you look at the different ships, they kind of lean that direction. I know the Silencer has a K-turn, but I think that's about it. Because even the FOs have sloops.
The BAs have K-turns too, I think.
Okay.
I think so. I think they have
K-turns. They have a 5K. Sloops, they have 2 sloops, and they have a 5K.
Right.
Basically, the FOs have a 4K.
But everybody's got a 2 sloop.
But it is, everyone's got sloops. Yeah, whereas like the X1 and the TAP are Talon rolls.
Right.
Right. It's just a little bit
silencer
different.
Too.
Right.
Yeah. And I was hoping for like a 3 or something, okay, but then I oh shit. Like I said, this is only the 3rd time I've played it. I haven't done any practice. I haven't done any of the. I haven't practiced against anybody else. I haven't played what's that online thing that you do the solo game?
Fly Casual.
Yeah, I haven't.
Which they just added multiplayer to like yesterday, but I haven't tried it out yet.
I don't understand why you would do that with the 2 other platforms that are out there. But
no, I'd rather play TTS.
TTS, I think, is the greatest looking. And the nice thing about go for it. Though, as much I still got my butt kicked, but I still enjoyed playing this.
Good, man.
And that's so, one of these days maybe I'll get better with Kylo, and because again in this game, like I kind of flew in there, and then when he turned in, I was like, oh shit, I gotta bail out, and then I spent like the rest of the game bailing out, and I didn't. So again, I just didn't get enough shots with it, and in that last turn, I'm kicking myself in the junk. That's why you guys are probably confused. I was farting around with the dice. I was like, I should have just. I don't know why I didn't just boost there.
Oh, we were talking about
at the end? Yeah, we thought you should have target lock boost. I did.
I think, you know what? I blame Brandon because he talked me into, oh, yeah, you're definitely. And you know what? Come to find out, I was in range 1. Because
come to find out, it also didn't matter.
Right, because I rolled like shit anyway. But
you needed Brandon to roll double blanks and you needed to roll crits, and you just didn't get either of those things.
Well, I didn't even get 4 hits. I didn't even get, like, even with the rerolls, it was, it was bad.
4 hits on double blank would have.
Well, that was Charles's fault.
It's my fault because I was like, he's going to have to get direct hits to be able to get Asajj to half.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, how much damage did I need left on Asajj?
3.
You needed 3 more.
Well, okay. So if I got 4 hits though, and he only had the evade and he blanks out, maybe.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Like just increasing dreams there.
Well, we used. I
didn't even come close.
We used Gene's dice roller because we figured out that it won't generate dice stats off of it, so that Gene can complain that he lost because of dice, and there will be no technical data to dispute his claim.
Exactly. But and the funny thing was though, I don't know if you guys noticed that, but it was actually in range 1. Like it showed that I wasn't in range 1, and then when he measured from massage, it said we were in range 1. Because what it's not doing, it's jacking up the rule, right? So it's measuring from my arc, which isn't what you do. It's in arc. Okay, good. Now you measure closest point to closest point. Closest point to closest point, I was in range 1. And yes, it was in an arc. It's not closest point to closest point within range or within arc. So you measure from the base, and it didn't do that. It was measuring from the arc.
From cardboard?
Yeah, which is why it showed me to be out of range 1, but him in range 1.
Okay.
So that's that might be something we have to kind of let.
Well, they talked about in their updates this morning about how the bases were off, and now they're 40 millimeters like they should be, and how they fixed the range checks on everything.
Wow.
So,
Oops.
I just find it ironic. I'm just saying. But, I mean, I still think the right call was target lock boost, like regardless.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because then there would have been no question.
Right.
And it would have, whoop-de-doo, I get a stress. That makes no difference.
Yeah, who cares?
The
And
boost also would have
I think it
carried
was
you
his
out of
brain
Paylob
talking me out of
range.
Oh, that's a great point, because Paylob could have shot you in the butt.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that
didn't
would
think
have
of
been
that.
the
reason I
boost was a
freaking
good
boosted
idea,
closer.
but I wouldn't say that it lost you the game not doing it.
Oh, absolutely.
I actually thought, Brandon, that
And in the
Paylob
end,
should
it
have
didn't
taken a target lock after you moved. And Mark's like, no, there's no way Kylo's going to be in range.
I did take a target lock. I took you see the little green squiggly token? That's a target lock.
Yeah.
I'm tracking you now. So you re-roll to Lando. I got you. I got
exactly
you.
what he
Yeah,
said.
no, that's what I was saying is he has the evade for reroll, so it's like he has a focused target lock.
Oh, you're right, man.
Kylo
That's
really
crazy.
needed to get out of range, especially if he,
Yeah,
especially
there's
after
absolutely no
that roll
reason
from
not to
Asajj.
There's absolutely no reason not to take the boost there. But
Yeah,
whatever. I mean, it was kind of, it didn't matter. And in the end, none of it mattered.
Right, but it was still a close game, so don't take it too hard.
yeah, 100%.
But at least this way, you'll remember this situation, and next time you won't waffle over it, you'll take the boost.
Yeah, especially on the last turn, there was absolutely no reason.
It's
not
kind
to.
of thematic too, emo Kylo going in for the kill, guns blazing, don't care. Just makes
Right.
sense.
And then
Right.
just whiffing in the end and dying.
Well,
Like
yeah,
the last movie.
right. I mean, I would have held Ben Solo's hand. Yeah. No, you're dying.
It was neat to still have a miracle's chance in the end.
It
And then I
was.
ended up fucking up trying to kill Leighton too. Couldn't even get enough hits on that to.
Let's give you some kudos for that, Gene, because Mark and I were like theory crafting here, like what's the win condition, right? And you two-hearted with yellow. You took the target lock instead of the focus. It's like aces. You thought you had the range one with Kylo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you kill Leighton, you get half on Asajj, you win the game.
Right.
So you absolutely, instead of getting discouraged, you kept thinking about, and Mark talked about this earlier, you kept thinking about what can I do to win the game?
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah. I mean, I tried. And like I said, either way, I had fun. It was fun. So. And I don't even know, I'll be honest, I don't know that I'm even going to change my list after this. I think I'm just going to say, screw it, go forward with it.
So I was going to ask you guys, because this is the end of your round 3 on Tuesday.
I know Brandon was talking about taking bombs off his shit.
Yeah, the bombs are gone. I dropped exactly one bomb across 3 games.
But you
And
know
that
what?
was the bomb I dropped today.
The bomb was clutch today, though, because Red came off the board.
It did give you the kill because you got the one hit on him, and then you only got the one hit that you needed to kill him on the following shot. So it did actually get you the kill. It did.
What
are you going to replace it with? That's the question, I guess.
I'm looking at heightened awareness on Asajj, so that when I hit these aces, I can take a I-7 tractor shot at them.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, dude, that's killer.
Yeah.
That's what my plan is. That's why I was saying before the game that I wished I had it for this game instead of the bombs. I was like, I'm not going to use these bombs for much, but I will use an I-7 shot on a Kylo to try to put his ass on a rock before. He
Well,
can fire a
and
torpedo.
also, like we say, Brandon, if you make your opponent make decisions, they've got a chance of making a bad decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you tractor them, they'll have to think about, do I want to take the stress and turn 90 degrees?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Right.
cool, because Asajj is still on the board. So we'll enjoy that next turn, too.
Right. Dude, I'll tell you what. That's the cool thing about this, your list is 2 dice attack ships, man. They're just fucked. Because you want to get in closer, you get the 3 dice attack, but then you don't. You're going to lose your tokens. You're going to gain stress. You might get tractored. There's just like all these bad things if you get close enough. But if you hang back, I mean, like ordnance lists, I guess would be bad. But anything that's like 2 dice attacks,
Well,
man, that's
the one caveat to that, Gene, is the list we flew. Drea with Z's and crack shot, they could punch through.
well, yeah.
Yeah, you get
Crack
enough
shot.
of them. That's
that's
rough.
It's funny you bring that up because I was thinking that as I was playing this game, I was like, Jesus, I wish I had that freaking swarm of freaking ships. I would just be eating this up right now.
I
But
mean,
was
that's
like,
the one thing. I mean, he can keep spending tokens, but you can keep crack shotting. So it's
Yeah, just like, oh, you're gonna spend that token so that if I crack shot, I don't get it through. But then you spent the token, now I'm not gonna crack shot. And
well, yeah, and if you took a bid against Brandon, you'd actually get the bumps too. So there's that.
yeah,
that
'cause
list.
he was a full 200.
So I mean, if you decide that you're gonna go 4-1 and you're gonna meet Brandon in the cut and you're gonna slaughter him, that'd be one way to go. I'm not saying it's gonna happen.
He's got to change now and then win.
yeah,
the
that's
rest of them.
that's the issue, and I don't think I am. I just want to try to fly the aces and have fun with that. So
I wouldn't feel bad about your Kylo play. I don't really think. I mean, the things that we might have said, we do differently. We weren't in the heat of it. We weren't, trying to come back and win a game. I totally get why you did the boost barrel roll. I know it. You stayed in arc and you were double stressed, and that was pretty much the end. I think when that happened, but I could see why you thought you'd dodge the arc. It's just those.
You had
I was
to
gonna
try. You had to try to
I was
do
going to
it.
try. I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
And it didn't work.
2.0 barrel rolls just are not all that.
No, they're not, and that's the thing, and it's especially hard on here where you don't quite get the same spatial awareness that you do in a real game, where you can
Mhm.
kind of stand over it and look at it and like, oh yeah, that's not going to do it. On here, it's a little harder to judge,
Mm-hmm.
for me anyway.
For everybody.
Yeah, I have. I've struggled getting used to it. It's gotten better because I played a list where it mattered for 7
That's
rounds,
right.
and then this one, honestly, it kind of matters to not because I'm necessarily getting super close to obstacles, but because Palob likes to have them nearby for the evade and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, that
Oh.
Jedi list you did like twice as many moves as your opponent in a game.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, I think the turning point in this game is when Mark was spinning my cards around, and that just totally threw me off. Otherwise, I would have.
there it is.
I see. I see.
I didn't know who was doing that, Mark. Shame on you.
Yeah, that was me.
Okay.
It's like you moved it just a weird angle in my OCD. I was like, well, let me roll down there and straighten that out. And then you just started spinning it. I said, what the fuck
Because
is
Gene
this?
doesn't have his binder to keep everything in perfect
That's right.
straight lines in this.
I should have put a lock on it or something.
That's actually what you should do. You should put some. You should get go through all the trouble to make a TTS item that is your
Little
card
binder
tray that you
There
use
you
at
go.
tournaments.
Let me get with one of these freaking programs.
And then when they go in there, the cards are locked and everything.
Well, great game, guys. Look forward to seeing what
Yeah,
y'all
thanks for
do.
letting us watch.
Yeah, it was
Absolutely.
fun, man.
Well, thanks for streaming it and whatnot.
Yeah, now we got to go back
wait
and
to go
listen to
back
the
and
commentary
listen to
because
it.
that's always the.
Well,
that's
Mark
always the
was
fun
great.
part.
Mark had a lot of great commentary, so you'll enjoy it.
Charles was doing a hell of a job predicting things. So yeah, well, let
I
us know what
should
you
have been a
think. and,
weatherman. I missed my calling.
thanks again.
Yeah,
Oh, you don't want to be accurate if you're a weatherman.
that's right.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
right. That's
You
right.
can't they'll fire you in a second.
Yep.
No, the Weather Illuminati would kill me. I'm too accurate. Yeah, no. So, y'all have a good one. Appreciate you.
All right, man. You too.
Y'all take it easy. There it is.